live.
Sorry, guys. I was grading some of my students earlier. Someone brought me an apple. Thought it was great. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in until the point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know where to find us by now. Cyber Bro Dirk, Running the Point on Amazon.ca. Make sure you go buy that book at Dougie J's on Twitter. It's baseball season. It's his favorite time of the year. Skip, apparently, you're also out there somewhere else that just happened recently, and I'm very proud of you, my friend. Can we see it?
Yeah, so I just got a short story published in the Econoclash review. You've probably seen it on my Facebook page. If you're interested in picking up the book, it's Econoclash review number 7. You can go to econoclash.com or downandoutbooks.com, or just check my socials. We'll put a link in the description. But yeah, one more story I published recently. So
awesome. You guys know where to find myself and Skip. To the Point on Instagram and Facebook. To the Point Raps on Twitter. On YouTube at To the Point Podcast, which is where you guys watching us. And if you are, make sure you go down there, click subscribe, click like, let us know what you think. And in this corner, weighing in with the hot takes, hailing from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the one and only, the mouth of the North, the undisputed mouth of the North, Andrew Reece. You guys can find him on the Reece Report, YouTube, Facebook. That's where I go for my sports news all the time. Reece, it's a pleasure having you back on the show. Is there anywhere else they can find you?
All platforms under the Reece Report.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. So proud of you that you got through that. Okay, now that you're on here, Drew. Okay, I see you guys out there on all social media, Facebook and whatever. You Raptors fans, a lot of you guys are saying some stuff about certain players here and there. So we are here today to provide you with our grades for each of the Raptors on the roster. And we hope you guys either agree with us, disagree with us. If not, you guys can let us know. Tell us what you think. And Andrew, this is why you are here today, because I want to ask you, although we can't get through all 17 players on the current roster, is there anybody notable with the grades that you have for them? Can we flash that? What do you think about this? Tell us something.
All right,
please.
I'm gonna give you my 3 guys that are gonna stick out in my grades. I'm gonna start with Pascal Siakam, who gets a D for dull.
ooh.
Okay, now Pascal Siakam, I realize he had some decent numbers. He had some good games, but to me, his game and his numbers did not improve. He certainly was not an all-star this year, and he struggled mightily in the last minutes of games. Missed every game-winning shot or isolation play that he was sent out to do. Cost us probably about 5 games. His three-point shooting did not improve, and I just didn't feel the impact of him on our team as compared to a Julius Randle. For Nick Nurse, F.
Oh,
F.
I don't know about that one.
Okay. Now here's the reason why Nick Nurse gets an F. We started the year 2-8. Now I realize it was because of Tampa, but we started the year 2-8. He overuses his starters, plays them way too many minutes, doesn't use his bench. And as you can see, our bench was really good towards the end of the year when they actually got to see the floor. His last minute and last second coaching, not good at all. It's isolation. There's no plays drawn up, and it leads to us losing a lot of close games. I believe our record was 2-14 in the last minute of games where the games were close. And I know this is unfair, but I believe that he was responsible for the team getting COVID. Not wearing his mask consistently. The coaches got COVID. The coaches got COVID, and then the players got COVID. There went our season down the toilet. Now, I love Nick Nurse, and I would have given him an A+ when we won the championship. But to me, he failed. He failed this team. He failed the fan base, and it felt like the team and him gave up because we were in Tampa and had COVID. Now, on a positive note, Chris Boucher. That's right. If it wasn't for Julius Randle, he'd be the most improved player in the NBA. I give him an A. I can understand an A- on him because of his defensive woes, but he was put into a position where he couldn't defend certain players. But still, every single number improved on his. If you look at his numbers, every number improved: 3-point shooting, field goal percentage, points, blocks, 1.8 a game. Every single thing he did improved. And when the team did have their positive run, he was one of the best players on the floor. When Nick Nurse finally went to him and got rid of that piece of garbage bum Aaron Baines. So
we'll talk about that after. Skip,
that's what
do
I
you think about? What do you think about Drew's 2 players and 1 personnel?
So I'll give you Boucher. I also had him as an A-, a 7A, but that's mostly because I didn't want to give anybody an A on this godforsaken season. Boucher showed huge leaps and bounds. He scored way more than he ever had in the past. I think he's up to 13 points a game, something like that. My one reservation with him is that I don't think he can play an NBA defense. I don't think he can guard any one particular position. Sure, he gets the highlight reel blocks. He blocks 3-point shots, but can he guard centers? Not really. Can he guard 4s? Like some of them. Can he guard 3s? Not if they're fast and can get past him, and make him move his feet. So he's got some issues.
Okay.
Now, as for Nurse, I think that F is pretty interesting. I think I can understand why you give him an F, because he's overseen this team that is completely tanked. They've completely failed expectations. But I think there's a lot of other things that were going on this season. There was COVID, there was Tampa, there was just a lot going on. And I don't think you can put all of that on Nurse. Even the last second stuff with Siakam missing his shots, like I don't think you can really put that on Nurse either. Some of it maybe, like I don't think he had a good year. I don't think you can give him banner marks. He's not going to get an A or a B from me. I personally gave him a D. I think an F would be if he really lost the locker room, if he got fired, if things were just untenable. From what I saw, it was a conscious step back. It was like, we're stepping back. We're going to throw this season and we're going to come back next year.
Drew, what do you think about that one?
I just think he had trouble motivating this team this year. And you could see it in his press conferences after games. He just seemed like he was just defeated,
Who is this?
Nick Nurse. And
okay,
I'm sorry, but I watched all these games, and I have never been more frustrated watching a team operate their offense in the last minute of games, and then not doing the right thing on the defensive end when they're up in games either. And it's just, that's coaching to me. You've got to do better when the game's on the line. You have a chance to win. You've got to do better. And I was very disappointed in his coaching job this year. Is F harsh? Maybe, but I just look at it and I'm like, what did he do right this year?
Yeah, and I also think,
what did he do right?
Well, okay, like that's fair. I think.
I mean, starting Aaron Baines for as long as he did when we started 2-8. I mean, what excuse?
I understand the F. Don't get me wrong. I think even beyond the F, though, I think Siakam doesn't deserve a D. I think Siakam actually had a really good season. I think he was surrounded by bad players. He was a little inconsistent at times. He was a little turnover prone at times. Obviously, he didn't make a lot of last second shots, but if you look at his numbers compared to last season, they're almost the same across the board. He was still a really productive player. I think you can give him a C to say that he didn't improve. I don't think you can give him a D. I don't think he fell back. I don't think he fell off. I don't think he's a bad player now. He's not an all-star because he's not on a good team anymore. But he's still fine.
Yeah, you can say D's harsh, but he just didn't take the next step. That's all.
Okay, hold on. Now, in response to who you have to talk about, Andrew, Nick Nurse, I'll save that part for last. I agree with you on Boucher. He's up in the A range. I agree with that. Okay? Pascal, I'll give him a higher grade, man. You guys will see my grades later on. I'll give him a higher grade. But when it comes down to Nick Nurse, what I see is he didn't have much to work with. When you guys figure in COVID, being in Tampa Bay, 36 out of 72 games, a different starting lineup over the year, having a bench of only 3 players near the end of the season, even though people will say they were tanking, but they also did have that when they were on that winning streak before the tank. So I will disagree with you on that one. Now, also, what I do want to hear about right now is Skip. who are the notable players for you, my man?
All right, so I went with the big guns. I went with the top three players outside of Siakam.
Ooh.
So we'll start with Fred VanVleet. I gave him a B plus. I thought he had a really, really good start to the season. He was really on fire. He was doing a lot of damage. He was playing better than he has ever in his career before, up until he got COVID. And then we saw things kind of fall off after COVID, and he had the hip injury. But overall, he had a good year shooting from three. Well, not by his standards. He had a solid year shooting from three. He's fourth in the league in steals per game. Could be even higher if some of his blocks were steals, as has been talked about ad nauseum on the broadcast. So he had a really solid year, and I think he was on pace for an A or an A plus year before everything kind of went to hell. Now, as for Lowry, I gave him a B minus, which is a little bit harsh. It's a little harsh. I'll be honest. I think he really deserved a B plus in terms of when he was actually playing, but I can't give him a B plus when he rested the entire second half of the season. So I think when he was in there, he was still putting up the same numbers he's always put up. He was still contributing to winning. He was still playing really well. Maybe he lost a step defensively. Maybe he's just a little bit older, can't quite get into the paint as well. But he had a really good year shooting from three, shot 40% from three. Actually struggled inside more than anything because he can't really get the step on guys as much. But Lowry, I still think is a very productive player. He's still the Raptors' best player when he's in there. And so B minus, I think, is actually a little harsh. But you don't get marks for games you don't play. And then I'm going to switch over to OG Anunoby, who's the breakout star of the season. Absolutely blew me away. Terrific season. 15.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, both well over any numbers he's ever put up in the past. Flashed some ball handling. Still needs to work on his ball handling a little bit, but flashed way more ball handling than we've seen in the past. Flashed some three-point shooting, terrific defense, should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Just an absolutely breakout year for OG, and I think if he can take that next step from here to next year, I think he's going to go from an A minus to an A plus, and that's when we'll see the Raptors be that next level type of team.
Drew, agree to disagree, or agree or disagree?
I think OG's development is key for Pascal Siakam becoming a better player. That's what I believe. Kyle Lowry, I agree with you. It's really hard to grade him because he's an older player who probably wanted to have more success, wanted to be part of a winning organization, had the same numbers. But if you look at the Raptors this year, their best stretch came when he wasn't playing. So the B minus is actually, I think fair because they weren't as good with him in the lineup. So, there might be some subtle chemistry issues there, but I think he is still very much someone who contributes to winning. I think he did some really good things when he was in there. Yeah. And what was the other player you talked about?
VanVleet, Lowry.
VanVleet. Okay, Freddie. Look, one of my favorite players. I'm so happy he re-signed with us, but I was shocked that he only shot 39% from the field. I thought he started so well, and then he just he just fell apart. I didn't think it was completely after COVID because he had the 54-point game and then he had COVID right after that. But he must have really shot bad after COVID to go that low.
I think he really did struggle. I agree.
Yeah,
I think he really did struggle after COVID and showed up in the numbers.
Can't control that.
And I'm sorry, but the 2-8 start, that's on Nurse. I'm sorry. They had all their players. They were healthy. They started the year 2-8. They lost a bunch of games in the last minute. That start is on Nick Nurse. I know the players missed Toronto and they hated in Tampa Bay, but that start was bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you think?
I agree with you guys. Well, you know what, guys? Skip, I gave Lowry a B. I gave VanVleet a B minus. I understand with this COVID and then Lowry being older, his legs, I get it. But for while they were on the court, I think they were pretty good. OG, I gave him an A. I wanted to give him an A plus. No questions
Yeah,
asked.
the only reason I
Right.
didn't give him an A+ is because I didn't give anybody an A+. I think
Like he
was the closest.
dunked on some people this year, man.
Yeah.
The handle is getting better, man.
Actually,
Yeah.
guys, the only
And it
person
was-
I did. Actually, you guys will see in a minute. The only person I did give an A+ to is, I agree with you, Drew, Chris Boucher.
Yeah, he was great. He was great.
That was awesome. So, guys, honestly, if you guys want to know what I think, the notable players that stood up to me is,
Yeah, hit us.
I think, in the words of Homer Simpson, you're living in the past, Marge. Quit living in the past. Okay. I'm looking towards the future, and we can show that right now with my grades. I got to say, Malachi Flynn, I got to give him a B-. He was really given nothing.
Wow.
He either had to come off the bench with a very thin bench, or have to take over the starting role with Van Vliet, Lowry out, or have to learn the two with one of them. And then once they kind of got comfortable with them, Van Vliet and Lowry were sitting out and letting Flynn take the reins. So I will give him a lot of credit, because this kid has a huge upside. I'm looking towards the future. I'm not looking in the past, baby. Not looking in the past. I'm looking towards the future for the Raptors' next championship, because you're only as good as your last championship. I do love Yuta Watanabe, by the way, #1 selling jersey in Japan for the NBA. Gotta love that guy. This kid puts his heart, his soul. He leaves it all on the court. He reminds me of Japanese Dennis Rodman, but being obviously Japanese, so he's being nice. He's got some morals. He's a good guy. He's a stand-up guy, right? I love seeing him on the court because he brings the energy. He's like a jitterbug. Isn't that a Wham song? He's like a jitterbug. He just comes out there. He's ready to go. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I gave him a B+, to be quite honest. And also, another player looking towards the future who I believe in is Freddie Gillespie. At his size, and from the time he got put in there, and your boy Bangs got the boot, Freddie Gillespie has been doing everything. He's not perfect. He's not refined. But I'm giving these grades based on what these guys had to deal with due to the thin bench, being in Tampa, and COVID, because these are all factors that have to weigh in onto what the Raptors achieved this season.
Did you say an A? Did you say an A for Gillespie?
No, I said a B+.
All right.
Skip. Can I get in here for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Bring it on.
In honor of Booker T, did I just hear you say that Yuta Watanabe is a Japanese Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, that threw me off too.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with that.
Were you smoking too much today, Brian? Did Kobe Bryant getting put in the Hall of Fame do something to you today?
I cried myself to sleep. But no, I'm serious. Like, he's a nice guy. I'm talking about on the court. He will go.
I like him too, but my God, he's not Dennis Rodman.
He's also
he
like,
will go
I can't
out there.
imagine two people more different than those two people. Utah's like so like
Doesn't
proper
matter.
and like.
I'm talking when it comes down to his energy, he reminds me of a Dennis Rodman.
Now, if you had
That guy
said
that's
Birch,
gonna go out there and do whatever. No, Birch ain't diving.
now if you had said
Utah's
Birch is,
Utah's jumping into the stands. What are you talking about? Utah's jumping into the stands. He's putting his body on the line. Rodman did that. Utah wants to earn a spot on the team, and he did by signing that contract. This kid puts his all on the floor, and that's what I love to see about Utah. That's why I'm giving him a high grade, because I haven't seen this since Dennis Rodman in the 90s, okay?
wow.
All right,
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
That proves my point. That's my case.
Skip.
That's my story.
I don't know
I'm
what to say,
sticking to it.
Skip. I don't know what to say,
Skip,
Skip.
what do you got?
I
What do you got?
think-
What do you got? Come on, you
I
guys still didn't talk about Flynn or Gillespie. So where's it at?
Oh
Okay,
my
you-
God, Flynn. Okay, you go ahead, Skip. But I'm gonna Flynn. Oh my God, what
Put
did
it
you
on.
give Flynn?
I'm talking.
Give him a
I
B-.
gave Flynn
A
a
B-.
B-.
B-. Where was Flynn the first 4 months of the season?
Sitting
On
on
the
the
bench.
bench doing
On the bench
nothing.
because he couldn't defend and he was taking ridiculous shots. And by the way,
Oh,
he's
he
still
that's
could,
doing
when he
it.
I
went to-
disagree. He could
and then-
defend. He couldn't shoot. He could defend. He was defending pretty well.
And he went to the G League.
If
to
he was
refine his
defending,
skills.
then he would have seen the floor more if he was defending.
He went to the G
I thought he
League to
played
refine
really
his
good
skills,
defense.
and
I
when
thought
he
he
came
couldn't
back,
hit a
he was
3-point shot
playing.
the
Yeah.
first 3 months of the season.
Yeah, too much shooting. If he takes over for Lowry, we're gonna miss the playoffs again next year.
Flynn
No,
needs
no,
to
no.
work on
Not
his
unless-
shot.
not
He
unless he
absolutely
fixes
needs
his
to work
shot.
on his shot.
Yes.
He needs to work on his moves a little bit because he's a little bit undersized for the NBA.
Out of control.
Not really out of control. I just think he doesn't know how to beat guys. He doesn't know how to get
He's a
in good
rookie!
spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He needs
He
to
needs to work
learn.
on those things. He needs to work on his shot. I thought he played pretty good defense. I thought he flashed some stuff at the end of the season. I only gave him a C because every time I started to get on the Flynn bandwagon, he would then disappear for like 2 weeks.
I don't think there's any way he can start next year. You can't start.
Okay, now what about Freddie?
Yeah,
Oh,
we're right on the same page.
Yeah, Fred. I love Freddie. He just had a rough time after COVID. I don't want to hate too much.
No,
I love
Gillespie.
Freddie.
Gillespie
Oh,
we're talking
Gillespie. I can't say any. Honestly, I cannot say anything about Gillespie. I did not watch enough of him. I didn't see enough of him when he was on the floor. He was a hustle guy. He did a lot of hustle things, but I can't really grade him because he didn't play enough for me. Skip, you're gonna have to take that one from me.
Yeah, I thought he played
Yeah.
really well, way better than I expected. I also give him a B plus. I thought he did a lot of really good things. I saw him get cooked by a couple of vets, but like that's what you expect. Like he's a young guy.
That's what happens with
He really showed
exactly.
a lot of energy in terms of rebounding and just being in there and mixing things up. And I was really way more impressed than I expected to be with him. I thought he was just going to be another random 10 day who gets waived after 10 days.
Yeah.
I was really happy with him. And as for Utah, I mean, I kind of get what you're saying about Dennis Rodman and that he can't score and does a lot of little things, but I think I also gave him a B plus, but I only gave him a B plus because he wasn't even supposed to be on this team.
Yeah.
He was a guy who got
I'm supposed to
invited.
be here today.
He was a guy that got invited to training camp, and like everyone assumed that he was going to get waived at the end of training camp, and then he ended up just outplaying the other guys who were on two-way contracts. And actually, it kind of looks like maybe they should have taken Brissett instead of Utah. If you really want to go back and like revise history,
That's a topic for another day.
that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
I think Utah showed some nice things, but at the end of the day, he's not a serious player. He's a guy that comes off the deep bench and plays defense for 5 minutes on a good team. On a good team, like
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing we all agreed to disagree.
yeah, pretty much.
At least we all agree on Baines being an F.
And yeah, I say he's an F and A, and F for what he's done, and an A for get you out of here. Okay.
He's gonna have fun in the EuroLeague next year.
A bum.
I know, right? Or maybe he could go. Maybe he could go play for Rwanda, like J. Cole
Or
got
Australia.
signed today for that.
I guess he'll go back to Australia probably.
I guess so. So more importantly, guys, we could talk for hours about this. We want to know what you guys got to say. We're actually gonna post. We're gonna post a graphic, and you guys could fill in your bracket, your grades, and let us know what you think. Leave some comments. Let us know what you feel. Let us know what you think. It's been a great pleasure having you on the show, Drew. As usual, you know, you've become a regular and a great friend of us. Skip, it's always a pleasure seeing your beautiful face. You guys out there, I wish we could see you, but unfortunately we can't, but you guys can see us. So we're there for you guys. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. So on behalf of myself, Skip, and Mr. Andrew Reece, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.